The big news break that's come in right now on the National Herald case as the first charge sheet has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate, naming Sonia Gandhi, naming Rahul Gandhi. I want to bring in Munish Pandey as we're putting out a copy of the charge sheet that we've accessed. Munish, what exactly will this mean for the Gandhis? They're out on bail in this particular case. With this charge sheet being filed, how does this amount to more trouble for the Gandhis?
Well, charge sheet becomes very serious in nature, Akshita, because the next stage after any charge sheet is filed is that a trial in this case can start. And as of now, the ED has named Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi in this charge sheet, which means that trouble is mounting for both of them. Now, what we are learning from our sources, what is mentioned in the charge sheet is regarding the National Herald properties. And the allegations are, Akshita, very serious. In layman language, in one line we can say what ED is alleging here is that merely for 50 lakh rupees they acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. That is what the allegation is. And according to the details accessed by India Today, there are 3 properties belonging to Associated Journals Limited. In those 3 properties are in Delhi, along with one in Mumbai and one in Lucknow. These properties are worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. But Young India Limited was the beneficial owner. And what is Young India? Young India is having directors like Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, which means that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are, directors of, Young India Limited. Now, according to the allegations, the property is worth more than 2,000 crore were fraudulently acquired by Young India Limited, owned by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, for merely 50 lakh rupees. The total allegation is that they acquired this property and they were also generating rent along with donations for Young India Limited. The ED has also alleged that more than 50 crore was generated through rent and donations. So the allegations are very serious in nature. Of course, this matter is linked to Gandhi family, directly linked to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. So it becomes very political in nature.
The charge sheet that you've accessed, I've just been going through the details. If you look at point number 8, it says very clearly, proposed accused number 1 and 2 are sitting MPs from the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. There are high-profile politicians besides Rahul and Sonia Gandhi. But can we go ahead and assume here that the ED is referring to proposed accused number 1, in which case A1 is Sonia Gandhi and A2 is Rahul Gandhi?
Well, Akshita, it would be safe to say. It would be safe to say because what we are learning is that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been named in this charge sheet. And why we are assuming this at this point of time is because both these individuals, both Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, they were called in for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. Their statements were recorded. Akshita, you also covered that particular event when Rahul Gandhi was called in by the Enforcement Directorate for 5 days. Even Sonia Gandhi was called in by the Enforcement Directorate. Her statement was recorded. Congress leaders were on the street across the country. So, that was part of the investigation by the Enforcement Directorate. They had to record statement, and that is why those statement becomes extremely important, because the next follow-up after those statements were recorded was when the ED will file the charge sheet. And now ED has filed the charge sheet. So what we are learning is that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been named. Importantly, and what is very crucial and critical here is that the allegations pertains to fraudulent acquiring the properties belonging to National Herald. And the total amount which the ED is giving is that for 50 lakh rupees, you acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. You were also getting rent, but those rents were not being reflected in the books of account, which becomes extremely important for any NGO or for any political party. So these are the serious allegations in nature. And at this point of time, what we are learning is that the charge sheet has been filed, cognizance has been taken. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, of course, they are, they are on bail. But the next step for the Enforcement Directorate will be, they'll be approaching court asking to start a trial in this case.
You know, there's a lot of talk right now. This is a case that's been going on for the last many years. 2014 is when the Enforcement Directorate formally lodged a complaint and a case based on a complaint by Subramanian Swamy. And the allegations were directly against the Gandhis as well as several other senior Congress leaders. Right now, in 2025, the fact that this case now has a charge sheet being filed, there's a lot of talk already of political conspiracy, Munish, but it's important to put it in context here that the reason you're seeing this charge sheet being filed right now is because on April 11th, you had the ED initiating proceedings to go ahead and attach properties of immovable assets worth 661 crores. So this is essentially the next step after that.
That's very important, Akshita, and that is what I was mentioning. On April 11, the Enforcement Directorate sent the letter to acquire these properties, these three properties, one National Herald house in Delhi, another property in Lucknow, and the second property, and the third property is in Mumbai. All these three properties, belongs to the National Herald, and these properties were illegally acquired by Young Indian Limited, where Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are the directors, we can say beneficial owners of Young India Private Limited. Now, this possession letter means that now ED wants to take over possession of these properties. And why ED wants to take over possession? Because ED suspects that these three properties were being used for money laundering purpose. And remember, Akshita, why this charge sheet is important. This is not a FEMA case. This is a money laundering case. Money laundering is far more serious in comparison to FEMA. And in money laundering cases, what we have seen is that, ED can go ahead not only with recording the statements, not only by filing the charge sheet, but also they go ahead with trial in the case. So in this case, it is expected that the next course of action by the Enforcement Directorate will be, they will be asking the court to start a trial in the case. Of course, it will be seen what the next legal step from the Congress party is going to be, because these are two top leaders of the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. And in past, we have seen that whenever Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi were questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, not only the Congress workers, but the top leaders of Congress party were on the street. But at the very same time, the BJP will also leave no stone unturned to call them a corrupt family or a corrupt party. Akshita.
This has huge political repercussions, obviously. Munish, I'll ask you to stay on with us just to re-jog our viewers' memories of what exactly this case is all about and how is it linked to Rahul and Sonia Gandhi. I'll explain it to you. The National Herald was a newspaper that was owned originally by the Associated Journals Limited. It was a newspaper that ceased operations essentially in 2008. Now, Young India Limited was a company owned by Sonia Gandhi. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Essentially, National Herald newspaper was bought by Young Indian from AGL. But the manner of the transaction is what led to several questions. First, let me highlight, in December 2010, you had the AGL receiving a 90 crore interest-free loan. This loan was from the Congress. There itself, there were questions of how this loan came through. Interest-free and 90 crore. Remember that number. Then as far as Young India goes, where's the question mark here of impropriety? The reason is the manner in which National Herald was bought and undervalued. Essentially, Young Indian Limited managed to, in fact, acquire 99.99% of AGL's shares, of Associated Journals Limited's share. And so they've essentially taken control of all AGL assets. The question that came up here, and that was mentioned in the complaint, was the assets of AGL. Was it correctly calculated? In the sense, was the asset amount actually handed over by Young India Limited? And it's over this, essentially, that there is a question mark. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are part of Young India Limited, which is why their role right now is under scrutiny, as are several other Congress leaders, Motilal Vora, for example, who is also, in fact, in this particular case. Let me also highlight, and I'll bring in Munish again on this. Munish, this case has haunted the Gandhis for quite some time. A few years ago, they'd been granted bail in the National Herald case itself. So in that particular bail hearing also, run us through the kind of reactions that came in. Okay, just before I bring in Munish, let's get you a reaction from the Congress. Jairam Ramesh has taken to social media to question what's really happening in the National Herald case. As expected, the crime political conspiracy. Jairam Ramesh has said, and I quote here from his post on social media, seizing the assets of the National Herald is a state-sponsored crime masquerading as the rule of law. filing charge sheet against Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and some others is nothing but politics of vendetta and intimidation by the PM and the HM gone completely berserk. The Indian National Congress and its leadership will not be silenced. They're calling it an attempt to silence their leaders, to silence the Gandhis, claiming it's politics of vendetta, politics of intimidation. Not surprising, really, that this is turning fully political. As expected, the moment the ED charge sheet was filed, the Congress immediately cried foul, saying that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are being targeted. They've referred to the National Herald case and the fact that ED has seized the assets of National Herald as a state-sponsored crime. So this is, in fact, the reaction that's coming in right now. The reason you've got, in fact, Jairam Ramesh up in arms is because property registrars in Delhi, Mumbai, Lucknow were all sent notices directing them to take over AGL assets under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And this is important because right now AGL assets are with Young India. So then that's where the question comes of the ED going ahead and cracking the whip on Rahul Gandhi, on Sonia Gandhi. Munish, if you look at really the charges right now, and even as the Congress is crying foul, not really surprising, you look at the charges against the Gandhis. There's a question of course, undervaluation of assets, of money laundering as well. So just explain to us, what is the allegation of money laundering here?
Well, Akshita, I have some details as far as this charge sheet is concerned. According to sources, not only the money laundering allegations, but one important aspect of this charge sheet is also that the AGL Young India Limited was allegedly used to generate illicit funds of more than 18 crore through bonus donations and advance rent of 38 crore rupees and rupees 29 crore through advertisement. So apart from, acquiring these properties illegally through fraudulent manner, there are three more allegations. One is using the network to generate illicit funds of more than 18 crore rupees, getting bogus donations worth more than 18 crore, rent of 38 crore rupees and 29 crore through advertisements. These are the allegations by the Enforcement Directorate. Apart from the main allegation is that they acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees fraudulently by giving just a nominal sum of rupees 50 lakh, which went through Young Indian Limited. Now, Akshita, if we go by the timeline of this case, remember in 2014, for the first time, Dr. Subramanian Swamy filed a complaint before the lower court saying that there should be investigation in the case. The Congress party, they went to higher court, they went to even Supreme Court. But both these courts ruled in favor of the Enforcement Directorate, saying that there should be an investigation in the case. That is when in 2021, the Enforcement Directorate registered an ECIR and they started investigation in the case. During the investigation, they recorded statements of several top leaders of the Congress party, and during the course of recording those statements, two most important leaders of the Congress party, that is Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, who are the directors of Young Indian Private Limited, they were called in for questioning. Sonia Gandhi's and Rahul Gandhi's statements were recorded for days, and finally the Enforcement Directorate has filed this charge sheet. Recently, they moved ahead for the possession letter, which means that the ED now wants to take over possession of these three properties, which according to ED are worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. And here we are talking about a money laundering case, Akshita, and you rightly pointed out, because it is a charge sheet under Prevention of Money Laundering Act, this becomes far more serious in nature, when it comes to the Gandhis. Akshita.
Okay, Munish getting us those details. Munish, just stay with us. What we're seeing right now is a charge sheet being filed by the Enforcement Directorate after they sought to attach assets of Associated Journals Limited worth 2,000 crores. And that really is what's prompted also a charge sheet to be filed. Jairam Ramesh of the Congress is saying that seizing the assets of the National Herald is a state-sponsored crime. Now, this is a formal investigation, mind you, which is being referred to as a state-sponsored crime by the Congress. As we get you all the details, let's quickly cut across to the political reactions also that have come in to this big news break of further trouble for Gandhis as the National Herald case continues to haunt them, with the ED now filing a charge sheet, paving the way for a formal trial now against Rahul and Sonia Gandhi.
But that's an expected sort of reaction coming from the Congress party, Rahul. In fairness, we need to go back to the merits of the case. The National Herald matter involves the takeover of the National Herald by a company called or a trust called Young Indians. Broadly, the entire assets shifted for a paltry sum to the control of the Nehru-Gandhi family. If I recall correctly, the Nehru-Gandhi family, with Sonia Gandhi and others, are possibly out on bail. Several related issues also, they did not get any legal sort of benefit, because after all, the matter had gone on before the Congress, before the income tax also. So the answer lies in the merits of the case, rather than just simply coming up with a statement that this is vendetta politics. Secondly, if a charge sheet is filed, then by due process, it will now go before a court. The court will then look at whether charges need to be framed, take cognizance of it. And that would be an opportunity for them to be able to legally point out, is there enough material that cognizance of the charges should not be taken? But given the history and what is in the public domain, that is something, while due process of court will decide on it, certainly there are several very difficult questions that they need to answer.
Okay, let me bring in Imran Masood, Congress MP, joining us on this broadcast with his view on what's happening. Imran Masood जी, जैसे हम अभी दिखा रहे हैं इंडिया टुडे पे, ईडी ने चार्जशीट फाइल किया है नेशनल हेरल्ड केस में, आपको क्या कहना है इसके बारे में?
देखिए, ईडी की विश्वसनीयता लगातार घट रही है और एक इतनी अच्छी संस्था जिस काम पे लगाया गया था, उसने वो काम छोड़ करके वो लग गई है इस काम के ऊपर कि नेताओं को किस तरह से मैनेज किया जाए। तो ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है और बहुत ही दुखद है। और जिस तरह से नेशनल हेराल्ड केस के अंदर, अखबार के मामले के अंदर जबरदस्ती आपने बार बार, पहले आपने कुछ नहीं किया, 10 साल फिर पेंडिंग रखा। मतलब आप कभी भी फाइल अपने सिलेक्टिवली टाइम देख करके फाइल खोल देते हो, फाइल बंद कर देते हो।
सिलेक्टिव टाइमिंग क्या है अभी इमरान मसूद जी, अभी क्यों कर रहे हैं आपके हिसाब से?
जी, अभी आज गुजरात में है ना, हम इसलिए कर रहे हैं और किस लिए कर रहे हैं? सारी पार्टी गुजरात में है आज राहुल जी गुजरात के अंदर संगठन सर्जन
तो आपको लग रहा है कि गुजरात कैंपेन के इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि राहुल गांधी गुजरात में है?
और इसके अलावा क्या है? उसके अलावा तो कुछ लग नहीं रहा मुझे तो लग नहीं रहा। बहरहाल कुछ हो, मुझे नहीं पता।
जो एलिगेशंस है इमरान मसूद जी राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ, सोनिया गांधी के खिलाफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के है, और ये जो केस है, कंप्लेंट और केस जो फाइल हुआ था वो 10 साल पहले हुआ था, तो अभी भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है, अभी पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्पिरेसी क्यों?
देखिए, सिलेक्टिवली आपको जब टाइम सूट करता है आप उसको फाइल को ओपन करते हो। अभी आपको लग रहा है
इमरान मसूद जी, आप फिर बोल रहे हो कि 10 साल में कुछ अप्रोप्रिएट टाइम नहीं था, अभी ही मिला।
नहीं, इनको तो देखे ना, मैंने बताया ना, अभी सुबह ही रॉबर्ट साहब को समन इशू करेंगे, फिर राहुल जी के खिलाफ और सोनिया जी के। तो गुजरात जाने से इतनी परेशानी क्यों हो गई कि एकदम इस तरह से इतने तेजी से एक्शन होना शुरू हो गया? आपको ऐसा क्या डर लग रहा है गुजरात जाने से राहुल जी के?
ठीक है, Imran Masood ji, thank you for joining us here on India Today. The Congress maintaining that all of this is a political conspiracy. They're linking it to Rahul Gandhi's campaign in Gujarat, saying that's why right now you're seeing, in fact, these developments by the Enforcement Directorate. I'd like to bring in Srishti Oja, also our legal correspondent, with more details on what this charge sheet really will mean for Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, who already have faced quite a few legal troubles because of the National Herald case, Srishti. Now what will happen with the charge sheet being filed by the Enforcement Directorate?
Well, Akshita, this is definitely a big development in the case. Also, in a way, a setback against Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, and also Sam Pitroda, who have been now named as an accused in the prosecution complaint that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate. Basically, money laundering. They have been charged with money laundering allegations. This charge sheet has been filed before Rouse Avenue Court. If you see the charge sheet, a person named Suman Dubey and some other persons have also been named in this particular charge sheet. Now, considering the matter relates to parliamentarians and sitting MP MLAs, the concerned court that has been hearing this matter is the special MP MLA court, which hears matters relating to MPs and MLAs which are going on. In this particular case, we've also seen the court ask for the court records and the case diaries. So on 25th April, the next step would be for the court to hear arguments with regard to taking cognizance of the charge sheet. Once the arguments are heard, orders are reserved, the matter is decided and cognizance of the charge sheet is taken, that is when the court summons the concerned accused. The arguments basically decides whether or not the court finds that the case fit enough to even take cognizance of the particular prosecution complaint which has been filed. Once the court reserves its orders or decides to take cognizance, that is when the court decides to also summon the accused, which in this case would be Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. As of now, the court has asked the Enforcement Directorate Counsel and also the investigating officer in this case to ensure that the case diaries related to this particular case are produced before the court. One another thing that we've seen the court mention is that several documents relating to the main matter, the predicate offence in this case, are before a different judge, that is pending before a court of the ACJ, the judicial magistrate. And those files also will have to be perused with regard to the predicate offence will also have to be perused by the concerned court while it decides to take cognizance.
Srishti, explain something to us. With this charge sheet being filed, we already know that there have been legal proceedings already going on in this case, which is why Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi also got bail. How is that different now with this charge sheet being filed and this trial that's set to kick off?
Well, Akshita, while investigation in a case goes on, once a complaint or an FIR in any case is filed, filing of a charge sheet marks a very important step as far as the legal procedure and the legal investigation and also the process of trial is concerned. It's an extremely crucial step because the investigating agency files an entire complaint accusing where these persons are named as an accused and certain charges are also made against the concerned accused. The investigating agency lays down in details the evidence that it has collected, the evidence that it has collected throughout the investigation, and also what offences, according to the investigating agencies, these accused have committed. It also becomes important because now the court is in a position where after the investigation is complete, the court has a prosecution complaint and a charge sheet before it, where the court decides to go through the allegations made against the accused concerned and also decide whether a cognizance of this complaint has to be taken or not. So once the court takes cognizance, the trial, it then moves on to next step of the trial where then we see examination, cross-examination, etc., and other steps taking place. The reason this becomes extremely important is it's an important development is because it also acts as a very important step as far as the trial in this case is concerned. Once investigation is done by the investigating agencies, charge sheets are filed laying down all the allegations, the main allegations against the accused. The court then decides whether or not it's a fit case for it to take cognizance, and then we see the court decide whether or not the accused in this case are to be summoned or not. Back to you.
So we'll see how it plays out legally, but it is definitely going to spell trouble for Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. In that charge sheet, seemingly they've been referred to as A1 and A2. A1, Sonia Gandhi, A2, Rahul Gandhi. I'd like to bring in Mumtaz Patel of the Congress joining us on this broadcast. Mumtaz, your reaction to what we're seeing right now with the Enforcement Directorate going ahead and charge sheeting Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald case?
Just wondering the timing of it as usual. I mean, you might say that this is just defense, but where is the legality in the case? They were granted bail by the court in 2015. And at this point of time, all I can see is another distraction tactic by the government while the country is burning over the Waqf issue. And also with Rahul Gandhi ji calling out in Gujarat. And being more...
But Mumtaz, I wonder, what would have been the right time for this kind of step? Let's say it happened last year. You would have said it's time to the general elections. Let's say it happened a few months ago. You would have timed it to something else. So is there a right time for this kind of action? Shouldn't agencies not give in to political pressure?
But is there any proper legality in the case to be even doing this? Subramaniam Swamiji filed this case, and this has been going on and dragging on for years on end. So I'm just wondering what is the purpose behind it? And the legality in the entire case.
So essentially, the reason we're seeing this charge sheet is because the ED moved to go ahead and attach assets. I'm sure the agencies don't look into really political motive or conspiracy, and if they did, that's a very dangerous precedent, isn't it?
if you see what happened with the income tax during Lok Sabha elections, they froze a national party's bank accounts right before the elections. So when you say timing of it, it's not just about timing. These are political optics. You have to keep the issue burning so that people have something to talk about. That's all I can say. It might sound like weak defense, but this is what has been happening in this country for the last so many years. That they keep bringing the Gandhis in the picture. They keep bringing Congress in the picture. I mean, if corruption was the issue, what happened to 3G, 4G? What happened to CAG? Why haven't you been able to have a conviction in 13 or 11 years of BJP rule yet? Why do you keep bringing it up year after year? You just keep it burning and keeping it alive.
Well, unfortunately, the criticism that constantly comes in from the opposition at the agencies is that they move far too slowly on cases, which may be the case here too, because it's taken 10 years for a charge sheet to be filed. But having said that, Mumtaz, look at the details that have emerged of the money laundering allegations against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. They're out on bail. So this has been legally pursued as well. It's not come out of the blue.
Absolutely not. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it works for the government right now to keep this issue burning. And the technicalities of the case, I'm sorry at this point of time. I mean, I wasn't completely prepared with this thing, but of course, what I'm trying to say is that this is something where I mean, it is vendetta. That's all I can say. The Gandhis have been on bail. That's fine. That's fine. But when you say money laundering, when you say money laundering, if you look at the details of the case, that is not how it is. It is they have used technicality to rope the Gandhis in. That's what I can say.
No, so Mumtaz, I'll just give you a quick sense of what this case is. 2,000 crores of assets of a company. 2,000 crores of assets that a company owns. And then another company acquires it for 50 lakhs. Ignore the fact that the Gandhis are involved. Ignore the names. If there's these kind of numbers, immediately, don't you, I mean, sirens will go off. This clearly reeks of some sort of...
It does not. The funds don't belong to Sonia ji or Rahul ji. It is just a technical transfer from one company to another. So where is the money
there's corruption, but not linked to the Gandhis.
No, no. I'm saying that if you have filed a charge sheet on Mrs. Gandhi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it is not that they own this money or this money was transferred in their name.
Okay.